The others are 91, 92, 93, 88.5 in St. Mary's County. Math, Prince George's 74.7, Anne Arundel 90, the others primarily 80. Then you get down to the middle school, which hopefully the quality of education would be gearing students up to do better. And we have Prince George's County in reading, middle class students, 71.3 versus 90 in Calvert, 80 in Charles. It just goes on and on. Nobody is 70 some odd percent. And in math, Prince George's County 54.5, state average 71.2. No one even comes in the 60s elsewhere. What is happening to the school system in Prince George's County? That's appalling now.
Well, I have difficulty in trying to answer that because the whole United States is trying to answer that. One thing I could say is this, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But first, let me precede it by something you said. When I was on the school board, every school in Bowie was at the top of the schools in the county.
I remember.
Okay. And we on the school board, particularly myself, that represented the Bowie area, tried to avoid articulating that because we didn't want to unjustly smear the rest of the school system, you know, or tout ourselves that much. But eventually that came out because they started to publicize those things. But after that, it started going down. It started going down, and I don't mean only Bowie schools, because Bowie schools, from what I gather, are still doing pretty well.
Yeah, relatively.
We always had very good teachers, and we had very good administrators.
Oh, yes.
But since then, education itself has become a national problem. And I don't know what it is that caused that. The fact remains that we have too many people who claim that the way to resolve that is to give it more money. Well, it is my personal view that when it comes to money, you've got a big black hole in education. You could keep throwing money at it, and it's not going to improve it that much.
There we go, right there.
Right. So I don't know what the answer is, but all I know is it is not money. To some extent, at certain places it is, but not around here because we get a lot of money for our education.
Absolutely, big time money.
Secondly, I think this is important too. We hear so much about pay for performance for teachers.
Good point.
Well, that may have something that will help. But you see, when you say we pay for performance, you also mean to get rid of those who do not perform, teachers.
All right.
Well, once you get into that thicket, you're dealing with the unions. And when you deal with unions in education, you've got one of the most powerful unions in the country. And I'm talking about the NEA, the AFL as well, you see. So they've been at it for so many years, and they've had so much talent to think about it, and they have not come up with a solution. I certainly can't give you a solution.
Yeah, no, it's a matter of debate all the time. Of course, in Prince George's County, we also have the unfortunate experience of having some pretty bad school superintendents, one of whom is convicted.
And it's been so influenced by politics in Prince George County, not just Prince George County, but when you have adjoining counties like, and even in the paper today, about the superintendent Weiss there, has been there, I'm not sure whether it's...
Oh, Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery County.
Yes.
And they're one of the top schools in the, compared to the
top school systems, yeah.
But he's, I think, been there 19 years. And what he's, luxury he said he had today, time. Maybe we've had probably a dozen superintendents during the same period of time he was there. There's only one other school superintendent in the country that serves longer than him, and that's a person in, I think, Griffin, Georgia, or Griffin County there, had been there 13 years. Now, if that's 19 years for him and 13 years for the superintendent in Georgia, and they're the highest, there's something wrong in our system of selection of people for management. And we might look into that as a, not particular blame, but an opportunity to change it. And of course, in the case of Prince George's County, at one time we had, with the superintendent, we had a professional group of counselors. And this was business people. Winnie Kelly was the chairman. Ray LaPlaca was the vice chairman. I was in charge of membership development. And we spent $350,000 on finding out what to brag about in Prince George County, and it was put on a television program.
Wow, you'd have a hard time doing that today.
And
I'd like to make a point,
not?
too. Al Golato, when you were on the school board, and it wasn't just you, Verna Teasdale, even Callahan, even Bob Callahan,
Yeah,
they were here. They were in the community. We knew them. They were active. I can't even tell you the name of the county school board member who represents Bowie these days. Can you?
No, that's right. Well, I can tell you this. You know, I ran in the first elected school board and the second one. The fact remains that we never had the involvement of higher level in the county politics in selecting school board members.
That's true.
We ran ourselves.
Yeah.
You see?
And look what you've got now.
Yeah. You've got everyone wired into the county politics.
Yeah.
And
Well, they
then
go
it's
from
an
the school
appointed
board to
board.
the county council.
And I think the state stepped in and actually appointed school board for a while.
They
wasn't
did,
it?
you're right.
Yeah, that
after
was
Metz,
one,
wasn't
the
it?
way I first got in on
Sure. And that's really nice to be proud of, isn't it?
it. Yeah, at that
Because the
time.
school board was dysfunctional.
That's exactly right. Now, that's the disappointment, Al. People like you, and you know, you mentioned your job. When you had these, I've worked with the school board and city council, you held a full-time job now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now they make these jobs full time. These people do.
But
Unbelievable.
look, the difference in what was accomplished, and
Yeah.
most of these people, I guess, are working more hours, but not producing more result.
Well, they should hang their head in shame. They really should at the state of the county school system today. They really should, and these tests speak for it.
And you know, I don't know of a president in my lifetime that didn't put attention from a national level to the education. I don't remember one that did not put some attention on it. If so, tell me about it. Start with our recent president, the previous president, and No Child Left Behind for 8 years before. School teachers didn't accept that for 4 years, and then, because they said it was unfunded. And then the next 4 years, they were bragging about what a nice idea. And this new administration might accept it, just change the name. But No Child Left Behind in Baltimore City was promoting whether they would deserve promotion or not a few years ago. That changed. Metz tried to change that.
That was the superintendent for before.
Superintendent, and she didn't make any a blip on the changes here, I'll tell you, during her term.
No.
And right now, the superintendent was talking about Prince George's County. There is a little difference in the superintendent and how he was brought in as an assistant superintendent. And he actually was the superintendent of a small organization in Georgia, I remember. So he does come with a little proven experience.
Well, he replaced a guy that went to jail.
No. He replaced the guy that was went to work with Obama. Excuse me, Gates.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him. Oh,
pretty,
John, what was his name?
John, a pretty decent interim,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Al.
I was thinking of the other guy.
Oh, the guy that was spent more time in the hotel meeting his friends.
Yeah, in Bowie, too.
In Bowie. The guy after him, and he had some promise, I believe. He had some promise. And he brought this younger man in that played basketball in Virginia, I think, and went in Richmond, went to, I think, University of Virginia. But he taught, and he was the superintendent down in Georgia. So he came with a little bit of, you knew where he was. He came with good blessings. So maybe we're a little better off than we were, John.
Well, what's your appraisal, Al?
Well, I think, you know, this gets out of our immediate area, but in education, I think the charter schools may be the way to go for the simple reason that you don't have this big educational bureaucracy telling them every little thing to do. They deal with the community. And because there is so much opposition to it, and the opposition is coming mostly from the unions,
Oh, of course, yeah.
you have a problem that you're not going to overcome, even to give that an adequate test to see if it will work in improving progress in education achievement.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think of homeschooling, which seems to be